I sat in my Tesla, hands steady on the steering wheel, watching the rain streak down the windshield. My phone buzzed. I answered, without looking at the screen. "Melissa," I said calmly. "Cancel the joint accounts. Remove him from the payroll. And call Dr. Patterson, tell him to cancel the surgery scheduled for next week." There was a pause. "All of it?" my assistant asked carefully. "Everything," I said, and hung up. Let me tell you how I got here. 12 years ago, I was 26 and had just sold my first software company for $42 million. I was exhausted, burnt out, and honestly, lonely. I'd spent my early 20s building something from nothing, coding in coffee shops, pitching to investors who barely looked up from their phones, sleeping 4 hours a night. Success came, but it came alone. I met Ryan at a charity gala I didn't want to attend. My business partner dragged me there, said I needed to network. Ryan was serving drinks. Not because he had to, he was getting his master's in social work, and the gig helped pay for textbooks. When I asked for a whiskey, he smiled and said, "Rough night?" We talked for 3 hours. He didn't know who I was, didn't care about my company or my money. He wanted to know what I liked to read, what scared me, what made me laugh at 2 a.m. when I couldn't sleep. For the first time in years, someone saw me as just me. We got married 10 months later. Small ceremony, just us and a few friends. His mother, Patricia, cried through the whole thing. His younger sister, Amanda, was my maid of honor, even though we'd only known each other a few months. They were a tight family. His father had died when Ryan was 15, and he'd helped raise Amanda while working 2 jobs. I respected that. I loved that about him. What I didn't realize was that to Patricia and Amanda, I wasn't joining their family. I was becoming their resource. It started small. Patricia's car broke down. I bought her a new one, a Honda. Nothing flashy. She cried and hugged me, called me the daughter she never had. Amanda needed help with grad school tuition. I paid it in full. She was studying design, wanted to open her own boutique someday. I believed in her dream. Ryan's student loans were crushing him, so I paid them off. All $120,000. He cried that night, told me I'd given him his life back. I told him we were a team. What's mine is yours, right? Then Patricia needed a new place. The apartment building she'd lived in for 30 years was being sold. I bought a condo, a nice 3-bedroom in a safe neighborhood. Put it in her name. She deserved security after raising 2 kids alone. Amanda moved in with her to help out, though Patricia didn't really need help. But family is family. When Patricia was diagnosed with kidney disease 5 years into our marriage, I didn't hesitate. The treatments were expensive: dialysis 3 times a week, specialists, medications that cost more than most people's rent. Insurance covered some of it. I covered the rest. I researched the best nephrologists in the country, got her into trial programs, made sure she had everything she needed. Ryan was grateful. God, he was so grateful. He'd hold me at night and whisper, "I don't know what I'd do without you." I'd kiss his forehead and tell him he'd never have to find out. I kept working, of course. Sold my second company for even more, started consulting for tech startups. Money kept coming. Ryan finished his master's and started working at a nonprofit that helped homeless youth. The pay was terrible, $38,000 a year, but he loved it. He was making a difference. I told him that was worth more than any paycheck. I meant it then. We lived in a brownstone in Brooklyn Heights that I'd bought before we met. Patricia said it was too modern, not homey enough, so I redecorated. Amanda said the furniture was too minimalist for her taste, so I bought new furniture. Ryan said the kitchen needed updating, so I renovated the kitchen Viking range, marble countertops, the works. For our 10th anniversary, I planned a trip to the Maldives. 2 weeks, overwater bungalow, private chef. I'd been working nonstop on a new venture and wanted to reconnect. I left work early to surprise Ryan at his office. His car was in the parking lot. That was odd, he usually took the subway. But then I saw another car next to it, a beat-up Toyota Corolla with a Salvation Army bumper sticker. I recognized it. It belonged to Jessica, one of the counselors at his nonprofit. 24 years old, fresh out of undergrad, full of idealism and student debt. Ryan had mentioned her before, said she was struggling, that he was mentoring her. I'd even set up a scholarship through my foundation that she'd received, $15,000 to help with her loans. The lights in his office were on. I walked up the stairs, my heels clicking on the linoleum. The door was cracked open. I heard her laugh first. Light, breathy, young. Then his voice, low and warm in a way I hadn't heard in months. "You get me, Jess. You actually get it. She's always working, always thinking about the next deal, the next acquisition. When's the last time we just talked? About life? About dreams that don't have a price tag?" "She sounds intense," Jessica said softly. "Intense doesn't even cover it. Everything's a transaction with her. Even this anniversary trip, it's not about us. It's about her proving she can afford it, that she's successful. Sometimes I feel like I'm just another thing she acquired." My hand was on the doorknob. I could have walked in right then, could have made a scene. Instead, I stepped back, pulled out my phone, and started recording. "Do you love her?" Jessica asked. Long pause. Too long. I did. I think I did. But love isn't supposed to feel like this. Like I'm drowning in her money, suffocating under her success. You make me feel like myself again. Like I matter for who I am, not what I can provide. The irony would have been funny if it wasn't devastating. "What are we going to do?" Jessica whispered. "I don't know yet. But Jess, being with you feels right. You're kind, you're genuine, you care about the same things I care about. You don't measure everything in dollars." I stopped recording. 63 seconds. That was all I needed. I walked back to my car, sat in the driver's seat, and opened my banking app. Joint checking account, $412,000. I transferred it to my personal account, all of it. Then I called Melissa. "I need you to do something for me," I said quietly. "And I need you to not ask questions until I'm ready to explain." "Of course," she said. She'd been my assistant for 8 years. She knew when I meant business. "Remove Ryan Chen from the company payroll. He's listed as a consultant. Effective immediately." "Done. Anything else?" "Call our attorney. I want to know exactly what assets are in my name, what's joint, and what he could possibly claim in a divorce." I heard her sharp intake of breath. "I'm sorry." "Don't be. Just get me the information by morning. You'll have it in 2 hours." I drove home. Our home. My home. I'd bought it 6 years before I met Ryan. It was mine. Everything in it was mine. The cars in the garage mine. The investment accounts mine. The vacation house in the Hamptons mine. We'd never signed a prenup. I'd thought it was unromantic, that it meant I didn't trust him. My attorney had warned me. I'd ignored her. But I'd been smart in other ways, even if I didn't realize it at the time. Everything significant was in my name alone. Ryan was an authorized user on credit cards, a beneficiary on some accounts. But ownership? That was all me. I sat at the kitchen island, the one I'd renovated for a family that didn't appreciate it, and I made a list. Ryan came home 2 hours later. I'd showered, changed into jeans and a sweater, poured myself a glass of wine. I looked relaxed, comfortable. "Hey," he said, kissing my cheek. I didn't pull away. "You're home early." "Wanted to surprise you," I said, smiling. "How was work?" "Long. Exhausting. One of our kids ran away again. We spent 3 hours looking for him." Liar. I'd checked the nonprofit's social media. They'd posted photos from a team lunch at noon. Ryan wasn't in any of them. "That sounds hard," I said. "You want dinner? I can order from that Thai place you like. Actually, I'm not that hungry. Think I'm just gonna shower and crash." "Sure, baby. You rest." He squeezed my shoulder and headed upstairs. I heard the water running. I opened my laptop and emailed my attorney the recording. Melissa's report came through an hour later. Everything I needed to know, laid out in clean bullet points. I read it twice, making notes. Then I went to bed. Ryan was already asleep. Or pretending to be. I lay next to him in the dark, staring at the ceiling, and I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel angry. I felt clear. The next morning, I woke up before him. Made coffee. Made his favorite breakfast. blueberry pancakes, turkey bacon, fresh orange juice. He came downstairs in his running clothes, surprised. "What's all this?" "Just felt like doing something nice," I said. "We've both been so busy lately. I miss you." He softened, sat down, ate the breakfast I made, told me about his plans for the day, meeting with donors, session with a new client, dinner with his mom and Amanda. "Actually," he said, "Mom wanted to know if you could help with something. Her water heater broke. The plumber quoted her $3,000 for a replacement." "Of course," I said. "I'll take care of it." He smiled, kissed me, told me I was the best. I watched him leave. Then I called the plumber myself. The water heater was fine. Patricia had lied. That evening, I went to have dinner with Patricia and Amanda. Ryan said he couldn't make it work emergency. I didn't question it. Patricia's condo was decorated with furniture I'd bought, art I'd chosen, rugs I'd selected. Amanda was in the living room, sketching designs for her boutique, the one I'd already sunk $50,000 into, without seeing a single business plan. "Sweetheart," Patricia hugged me, "Ryan said you're handling the water heater. You're an angel. Anything for family," I said. We sat down to dinner. Lasagna. Patricia's specialty, though I'd paid for the groceries. "You know," Amanda said, twirling her fork, "I was thinking, for the boutique, I'm going to need more startup capital. The space I'm looking at requires 6 months' rent up front, and then there's inventory and staffing." "How much?" I asked. "Maybe another 100,000? "I know it's a lot, but this is my dream." I smiled. "Let me think about it," Patricia chimed in. "You're so good to us. Ryan is so lucky to have you. Though, between us girls," she leaned in conspiratorially, "he does work so hard. You should try to be home more. Men need attention. They need to feel appreciated." "Is that right?" I said pleasantly. "I'm just saying, you're always traveling, always in meetings. A marriage needs nurturing. You can't just throw money at it." Amanda nodded. "Ryan mentioned you're planning that big anniversary trip. That's sweet. But maybe what he really needs is just presence. Quality time, not fancy vacations." I took a sip of wine. "You're probably right. We're just looking out for you," Patricia said, patting my hand. "You're part of this family now. We tell each other the truth." "I appreciate that," I said. "Actually, speaking of truth, I need to tell you both something." They leaned in, eager. "I'm sorry," I said softly, "but I won't be able to help with the boutique, Amanda. Or the water heater, Patricia. In fact, I won't be able to help with anything anymore." Silence. "What do you mean?" Patricia asked slowly. "I mean, I'm done. I'm filing for divorce. And since everything, the cars, the condo, the money I've given you over the years was a gift from me to help my husband's family, I think it's time we revisited those arrangements." Amanda's face went white. "You can't do that. You gave me that money. It's mine. Actually, the boutique fund is in an account I control. You're listed as a beneficiary, but I never transferred ownership. My mistake. I'll be closing it." Patricia stood up. "Now you wait just a minute. You can't just come in here and..." "And what?" I asked calmly. "I can't take back what's mine? I can't stop funding a family that's been using me as an ATM for 12 years? "Using you?" Patricia's voice rose. "We're family. You married my son. Everything we have because we're family." "No," I said. "Everything you have because I paid for it. There's a difference." Amanda was crying now. "But the boutique..." "My dream." "Your dream," I said, "was funded by my reality. My work, my sleepless nights, my company that I built from nothing. And you never once asked about it, never once showed interest in what I actually do. You just cashed the checks." "This is about Ryan, isn't it?" Patricia said. "Did you two have a fight?" "Honey, all couples fight. You don't blow up a marriage over one argument." I pulled out my phone, played the recording. They listened in silence. When it finished, Patricia sat back down. "That doesn't mean anything," she said weakly. "He was just venting. Men talk. They say things they don't mean. He's been sleeping with her for 6 months," I said. I have emails, text messages, hotel receipts charged to the credit card I gave him, by the way. He's been taking her to the same restaurants I introduced him to, buying her gifts with my money, planning a future with her while living in my house. Amanda was sobbing. Patricia looked stunned. And the worst part? I continued. The part that really gets me? She's the scholarship recipient. The girl I helped because Ryan said she was struggling, that she reminded him of himself at that age. I gave her $15,000. She used it to pay off her car, the car she's been driving to meet my husband in hotels. What do you want from us? Patricia whispered. Nothing, I said. I don't want anything from you. I just wanted you to know what's coming. The condo is in your name, so you get to keep it. The car too, but the utilities I've been paying? My name comes off those accounts tomorrow. The health insurance I added you to? You'll need to find your own plan. The medication costs I've been covering? You'll need to work that out with Medicare. But my dialysis is covered by Medicare. I checked. You'll have copays, but you'll manage. You'll have to budget. Get a job, maybe. Figure it out like millions of other Americans do. You're going to let her die, Amanda screamed. Over what? Hurt feelings? Pride? I'm not letting anyone die, I said. I'm just not paying for her to live anymore. There's a difference. Patricia raised 2 kids on her own. She's strong. She'll survive. I stood up, grabbed my coat. The surgery, Patricia said suddenly. Next week. The kidney transplant. You found the donor. You paid for everything. The hospital, the surgeon, the recovery care. I remember, I said. You can't cancel it. Please, I'll die without it. The dialysis isn't enough anymore, you know that. The doctors said 6 months, maybe less, if I don't get the transplant. I looked at her, really looked at her. This woman who'd called me daughter, who'd hugged me at Thanksgiving and told me I was a blessing, who'd sat at my table 2 hours ago and told me I wasn't paying enough attention to her son. You're right, I said. The doctors did say that. Hope flickered in her eyes. Which is why you should have thought about that before you encouraged your son to find someone who appreciates him more. Before you told him I was too focused on work. Before you helped him hide an affair by inviting me to dinners while he was with her. I didn't know, Patricia whispered. Yes, you did. Amanda told you. I read the texts. She said, Ryan seems happy lately. Wonder why? And you responded, let's just be grateful. She's always working anyway. You knew. You just didn't care because the money kept coming. I opened the door. The surgery is canceled. I've already called Dr. Patterson. The donor is being redirected to another patient who actually needs it, someone whose family won't stab them in the back. You're a monster, Amanda said. I turned back. No, I'm just not your ATM anymore. There's a difference. I left. Ryan called me 47 times that night. I didn't answer. He showed up at the house at midnight. I'd changed the locks. He pounded on the door, shouting about Patricia, about the surgery, about how I couldn't do this. I called the police, reported him for trespassing. They escorted him away. By morning, my attorney had filed the divorce papers. Ryan was served at his office. Jessica was apparently with him when it happened. According to my investigator, yes, I'd hired one, she cried. He looked shell-shocked. The next week was a blur. Ryan tried everything. Apologies, threats, begging. He showed up at my office. My assistant had security remove him. He sent emails. I blocked him. He tried to access our accounts. They were already frozen. Patricia went to the media. Tech mogul cancels dying mother-in-law's surgery over marital dispute. It made local news for 2 days. I released a statement through my attorney. Miss, Chen is not my mother-in-law. Divorce proceedings have been initiated. Mrs. Thompson's medical care is between her and her insurance provider. I wish her well. The story died. Another scandal replaced it. Amanda started a GoFundMe for the surgery. It raised $11,000. Not enough. Not even close. Jessica broke up with Ryan 3 weeks after the divorce was filed. Turns out she wasn't interested in a man who'd lost everything, who was sleeping on his sister's couch, who couldn't take her to nice restaurants anymore. She posted on social media about learning to recognize red flags and the importance of emotional maturity. Ryan sent me one final email. I almost deleted it without reading it, but something made me open it. You were right about everything. About Jessica, about my family, about me. I used you. I told myself I loved you, but really, I loved what you could provide. Stability, security, a life I couldn't build for myself. I convinced myself that because I worked at a nonprofit, because I helped people, I was the good guy, that you owed me something for being with me despite having more money. But you didn't owe me anything. You chose me, and I threw it away for someone who made me feel like a hero instead of a kept man. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything. I know you'll never forgive me, but I needed you to know that you deserved better. You deserved everything, and I gave you nothing but lies. I read it twice. Then I deleted it. Patricia died 4 months later. Kidney failure. Amanda sent me an invitation to the funeral. I didn't go. I sent flowers. White lilies. The card said, "My condolences." People asked me if I felt guilty, if I regretted it, if I wished I'd done things differently. The answer was complicated. Did I regret trusting Ryan? Yes. Did I regret helping his family? Sometimes. Did I regret not signing a prenup? Absolutely. Did I regret walking away? Never. Because here's what I learned. Generosity without boundaries isn't love. It's self-destruction. I gave and gave and gave, thinking that's what love meant. Sacrifice, selflessness, putting others first. But real love, healthy love, requires reciprocity. It requires respect. It requires the other person to see you as more than a resource. Ryan never saw me. He saw my bank account. His family never saw me. They saw my generosity as weakness, as obligation, as something owed. I didn't kill Patricia. Her disease did. I just stopped being her lifeline. Was that cruel? Maybe. But cruelty was teaching them the lesson they'd taught me. Your worth is only what you provide. They provided nothing, so they got nothing. I'm 38 now. I rebuilt my life. Started another company. Sold it for more than the previous 2 combined. I date, occasionally. I'm more careful now. Slower to trust. Quicker to recognize red flags. Last month, I ran into Amanda. She was working at a Starbucks in Manhattan. She saw me, turned white, and disappeared into the back. I didn't follow her. I ordered my coffee from someone else and left. I could have helped her. Could have slipped her some cash, offered her a job, thrown her a lifeline. But I'd learned my lesson. Some people will take everything you offer and still ask for more. They'll drain you dry and blame you when you're empty. They'll call it love, call it family, call it obligation. But it's not. It's just greed wearing a mask. So I walked away. Again. And I didn't look back. Because the only person I owe anything to is myself. And I finally learned how to pay myself first.